नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब. Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is to help you understand what is trickle-down economy. Before I even get started, I want to share that the idea for this video on trickle-down economy came from the recent Zomato IPO and Freshworks IPO, when hundreds of employees of these two tech companies became millionaires, or as you would call it, crorepati's, as these companies went public. तो मैं ये इवन एक्सप्लेन करूंगा कि इसका क्या लेना देना है ट्रिकल डाउन इकोनॉमी से और इन लोगों के आईपीओ होने से. स्टार्ट करते हैं. Firstly, let me explain that trickle-down economics is a political theory, not a practical theory that has been created by economists, but it's an idea that was created by Will Rogers. There isn't a practical use case for it, as many economists have pointed out, but we see many variants of it play out in Silicon Valley, in India, and in certain other countries. The goal of this theory is designed to boost living standards of all individuals in the long run. Now, what is trickle-down economics? आप लोग सोच रहे होंगे, है ना? This theory claims that the benefits for the wealthy eventually trickle down to everyone else. So trickle down से मेरा मतलब है जब आपके पसीना जो है ना, पसीना नीचे गिर रहा होता है गालों से, या ठंडे ग्लास का पानी से जो है ना ओस गिर के नीचे गिर रही होती है, उसको कहते हैं ट्रिकलिंग डाउन. तो यानी कि जो बेनिफिट्स जो है अगर अमीरों को मिलेंगे तो वो धीरे धीरे गिर के वो नीचे जो है ना लोअर स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग वेल्थियर क्लासेस से लोअर इकोनॉमिक क्लासेस पे भी जो है उन बेनिफिट्स को फायदा मिलेगा उन्हें. सो बेसिकली हियर बाय गिविंग टैक्स कट्स टू कॉर्पोरेशंस एंड वेल्दी इंडिविजुअल्स, it ends up creating a boost in the economy. How? By reducing tax on net income, capital gains, or other financial benefits to large businesses, investors and entrepreneurs allow them to put that capital in the growth that acts as an accelerant for the economy. It emphasizes the fact that investors, savers, and entrepreneurs or business owners will use any extra cash that they get from these tax cuts to expand their business, and thus investors will buy more shares. Banks will increase the lending. Business owners will invest in their own operations and hire more staff for their economy. And thus, the wages for the workers that are hired and increased wages that is, given by these banks will create an uptake in the spending of all individuals, and therefore there is demand growth, and eventually there is growth in the economy. This will drive demand up, and eventually we will see an upward tick in the economic growth. But there is one aspect where trickle-down economy goes really wrong. It advocates for tax cuts for corporations and wealthy individuals and all these businesses. For corporations, capital gains, and wealthy individuals. Now, there is a complete theory on trickle-down economics which uses a Laffer curve, which was introduced by Arthur Laffer. I'm not going to go into detail. मैं उसको समझाने में नहीं घुसूंगा कि जो है ना लैफर कर्व क्या होता है और उसकी स्टैटिस्टिक्स के अकॉर्डिंग कैसे वो वर्क करता है, कि जो है ना कैसे टैक्स कट डाउन होते हैं एंड मैथमेटिकली देन जो है ना इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ होती है. बट मैं लैफर कर्व आपको आपके स्क्रीन में दिख रहा होगा. बेसिकली जो है आर्थर लैफर वॉर्न दिस थ्योरी वर्क्स इन इफेक्ट एट बेस्ट व्हेन टैक्सेस आर इन प्रोहिबिटिव रेंज, meaning from 100% tax rate down to 50% down. Now, in history, there are two US presidents who have actually tried out a variation of this trickle-down economics. First being Ronald Reagan, who was president of the United States from 1981 to 1989. He cut tax rates for income groups of $108,000 annual income earners to $18,000, from 70% taxes to 28% taxes for their annual income that they had. He cut corporate tax from 46% to 40%. And based on that, there was a small period of economic boost or economic wealth that was created after these tax cutting policies were introduced. The second president that actually tried out a variation of this policy was George Bush. You may be familiar of him because he was from our time only, when we were kids ourselves. In 2001 to 2009, he used trickle-down economics policies to address 2001 recession. He cut income taxes with Economic Growth, Tax Relief Reconciliation Act, and he cut business taxes with Jobs and Growth Tax Relief Reconciliation Act. In both of these ideas, what these two presidents did was, the idea is to increase economic growth while simultaneously reducing, borderline poverty or, wealth inequality down. Like economic growth ऊपर जाए तो उसी के साथ साथ जो है ना wealth inequality नीचे जाए या फिर poverty line जो है ना वो नीचे जाए. That's when this theory is supposed to work best. But as a practical use में नहीं देखा गया. There is a term that has been used recently a lot, which is inclusive growth, which is really fashionable. This is used to refer neoliberal policies framework which is expected to deliver growth. What is inclusive growth? It is a system or a framework where income and wealth divides are bridged within a capitalist system. But does it happen in reality? No. What in reality ends up happening is the rich and the wealthy don't use the money from these tax cuts to help the poor. What they end up doing is they simply hoard the wealth.
So don't fall for supply-side trickle-down nonsense. Lower taxes on the rich don't generate growth and jobs. They only make the rich even richer at a time of raging inequality.
Now, there is a study from David Hope from London School of Economics and Julian Limburg, which examined 18 countries including US, UK, Japan, Canada from 1965 to 2015, a 50-year time period, where they found that in over 50-year time period that they were examining, these tax cuts helped no one except the wealthy. Wealth inequality grew with no significant effect on jobs or growth. What was the most surprising fact was GDP per capita was almost identical after 5 years in countries that applied these policies and the ones that did not apply these policies. Mudda trickle-down economics.
And the truth is, trickle-down economics don't work.
Real life practical use case में work नहीं करता. But are there alternatives? हाँ, there are alternatives. There is an alternative suggested by Robert Reich, a professor from University of California, Berkeley, by raising taxes on rich. So what he is saying is a completely opposite of, what trickle-down economics suggests. So what he says that instead of giving the wealthy and the rich tax cuts, we need to increase their taxes and use the money that the government is getting from the taxing of these rich is to implement certain public welfare policies. Precisely what he has said is by raising the taxes on rich, where top marginal income tax rates between 70% to 90% is used in public welfare policy. My idea or suggestion here, like अगर मैं कुछ suggest करना चाहूँगा ना, तो मैं ये suggest करूँगा. Tax cuts are introduced. Yeah, it's okay. Tax cut introduce करो. But we need to see what tax cut and the money that we are getting from tax cut is used in. It should be reflected in the employment force or in education initiatives. तो अगर तुम tax cut दे रहे हो किसी corporate को, तो उनकी जो है ना एम्प्लॉयमेंट टीम, उनका जो साइज ऑफ टीम है वो ग्रो होना चाहिए विद इन सम ईयर्स. और मे बी देयर हैज सम रीट्रेनिंग और रीस्किलिंग एफर्ट्स, जहां पे जो है ना हम एक्चुअली टैंजिबली देख सकते हैं कि जो है ना रीस्किलिंग हो रही है, स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे वर्क कर रहे हैं. दैट वुड बी गुड, ताकि कॉर्पोरेशंस बिकम लायबल, दे आर हेल्ड अकाउंटेबल for making the society grow as a complete whole unit, because these are certain tangible areas where we can measure growth effectively. Also, one other suggestion that I have, ESOP policies or stock option policies, दूसरे शब्दों में, they can be reduced if within a 5-year time period the employees that are getting the benefits from ESOPs or stock options after a company has gone public or maybe through share buyback, if these employees within 5 years start their own venture, if they start their own company, वो इकोनॉमी को प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, वो इकोनॉमी को जो है ना बूस्ट कर रहे हैं by creating jobs, by creating new products, जिससे जो है सबका भला होगा. So if you are able to reduce tax for these people, this will actually help the economy. That's it for this video on trickle-down economics. तो आप लोगों को समझ में आया कि क्या मेरा आइडिया था, कहां से मेरे को इसका सजेशन मिला और क्यों मैंने ये वीडियो बनाई. आई होप आप लोगों को ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी होगी. I will see you for the next time. Bye bye.